Okay, so perfect. Hope you guys can see me. If you can see me, just again put it in the chat that you're able to see my screen. Because I don't have Ivana today with me with some technical problems, but we won't delay anything. We'll get started. But if you can just put it in the chat, you can see me and then you can see a slide, right? Because that's, I'm just going to go here. Okay, awesome, perfect. Hey guys, thanks a lot for attending today's session. It's going to be an interesting an hour we'll spend. We might go a little bit over. I just want to warn you because I was just working on content and that's why we got a little bit late. But today we're going to talk about what I'm kind of calling this like branding strategy that is basically when we've been checking our records, it's getting us like 19,000, close to 20,000 or even more. Actually, I have done 30,000 impressions per month organically on LinkedIn. And this is something that we would talk about at details, and more importantly, I think what is exciting for you guys that are attending today is how can you replicate the model that we have created, and how can you in the next 30 days get to 10,000 or even more impressions, which means your name and you getting in front of people. And today we are going to focus on LinkedIn specifically. Of course, this model also applies to other platforms, but we personally love LinkedIn and Facebook, as you may have known from all my focus in the last few years. So that is kind of the topic, and we're going to talk a lot about different things. But one thing I want to mention, like just kind of let's get through like some logistic thing, right? So we are going to use the chat feature, as I mentioned. Now, the way we have also done the like login of this webinar, so you do need to kind of put something in chat if you have questions, if you are interested in getting something that I'm going to be presenting as well. So chat is going to be only source for us to know if you have requested something, if you have attended the webinar. We didn't have the login model on this webinar, so we are not getting any tracking from Zoom or anything like that. So please put up your questions, comments, so that way me and Ivana would know that you were here. I would keep an eye, like I'm looking at my chat questions right now, to make sure we also address your questions as we are doing this, okay? So logistically, please use chat as questions, comments, anything that you want. And we would be monitoring. We'll get a copy of this at the end of it, so that we are also able to do that. I just want to double check one thing to make sure. Okay, we are recording it and everything is good. Perfect. So let's jump in and get started. Now, I do want to mention that we are going to cover a lot of things, but if you stay till the end, which I'm hoping you do, and I really want you to make sure that you are here to listen to everything. But if you stay till the end, then what I'll do as a gift to you, I'll kind of give you the one of our training module from a main program that we have helped many advisors and we use, which is very directly related to the topic. So you'll get an access to our platform, and then you'll get this content education-led selling. It's about an hour training with all the templates, modules, and everything. And this is just a goodwill from us for you to take the time, but then more importantly, staying till the end, because you're not going to obviously learn anything if you are not able to stay. So please stay till the end. Just a very quick intro. I won't spend much time on this, but everything we are going to talk about, if you haven't been in one of my webinars, if you don't know who we are. So we have been working, my name is Deepak Patel. I'll be presenting and hosting everything today. I started helping advisors since 2018, and we have been on a really good path and journey. And now we have helped over 500 advisors. We have launched, our training product, our software product. We also, have had a book and a whole bunch of content, right? So we're coming from experience, and the model that we have followed, which, all the advisors have appreciated, is we teach what we do what we teach. So today, topic that I'm going to talk about and share is built on what we have done, what we are doing every single day, and every single day some advisor from the program is using, and we get feedback. So this is all coming from real experience. And again, just to set the stage, we are going to talk about how can you use an organic content strategy, which will help you to grow your clientele, your appointment. And we have done other events and topics, but today we are focusing mainly on how do you build your personal brand so that you are not looking like every other advisor, because that's what most advisors are looking today. And what we have discovered really in uh, creating a unique brand for ourselves, but also for advisors. So that's really the topic we're going to cover. So let's dive right into it, right? So there are three, what I'm calling this like branding discoveries that we have had that I want to walk you in this presentation today. So we'll go through that. I'm really going to go, very fluid. So I'm going to share my LinkedIn account. I'm going to show you a few things and stuff like that. But I want you to just, any questions you have, again, make sure you put it in the chat. And we'll definitely address it as we are going through. If not, we will get back to you at the end of the webinar and make sure that you have the answer to your question. So there are three important things that we are going to talk about. The very first thing, which I think is very important, and I know it's been a question, is the content mix, and which really comes down to what do you post? And there's something called writer's block in terms of like content marketing world. And that essentially means that when you start, and if you are like me, I have done a lot of content posting, and this had happened to me more in the beginning, and over time, as we started to build frameworks and models that I'm going to share, things get easier. But in the beginning, what happens is you have this desire to write something. You go on social media or open up a Word document or however you do it, and then you start to think about, what do I write? And now you have like big fear. You're staring at a screen, you don't know what to write, you're confused about it. And oftentimes you end up spending like 15, 20, 30 minutes and you don't write anything. So that's kind of like what we are going to talk about, like what kind of content really works and what is it that you want. And this is really fascinating when you understand. And we'll also talk about the mistakes, unfortunately, advisors end up making. So that's like the first part, right? So we'll really address, and the goal of this would be to make sure that you understand how easy it is to do this thing in today's world, and why you shouldn't really struggle with this part at all, and also avoid some mistakes. So that's number one. Number two, very big one for financial advisors, the compliance step, hurdle, limitations. So I have a lot of advisors that have this belief that I'm handcuffed, I can't do any content. And because of which they do one of two things. Number one, they sometimes just don't do anything, right? That's like a lot of people. They just don't want to deal with that problem because they believe that they can't do it or what have you. The second, they take the other path, which is perhaps, I think, even worse in my view than not doing content, which is using company provided automated canned content posting, which is absolutely proven with all kind of data. And I've spoken to people, and I'm sure if you are here today, if you want to put a comment, if you agree with me or not, but that content doesn't make you look unique. You are like everybody else. I think there is really no point of doing it, because the reason we do content, and we'll talk about this, is to communicate a few things about you, and also to create some knowledge and interest, because if people don't know you, then they can't do business with you. So that's why we do content. But then if you are doing that, but then the question comes down to, sometimes it's, you have a choice, right? Whether you don't do anything or you don't do something that doesn't work. And yeah, one can make an argument that it's better to do something. Like I'm a go-getter. I like to do things very hands-on. Like for example, this webinar that you're going through, I literally finished just before the event today, because we had a lot of other planning and things that we're working on. This is the first event where we had over 120 or so people registered. So one of our largest webinar. So there's a lot of things that we were doing at the back that led to time issues, but we're still here. I'm still presenting. It's all about taking the action. So with that logic, I think it's better to post something, even if it is company canned content. But some people take it too far. And I know advisors that have been working with large firms, and I won't name any firms today just out of respect and to not get into any trouble with any compliance department or company's marketing team. But you know who I'm talking about, a very large company. When you take that too far, and I know people that have done this thing over 2, 3, 4 years, that almost like makes you even worse in your market. Your market gets tired of seeing you as a lazy person. So I think sometimes not doing it is probably better than doing something wrong. So we'll talk about how do we get through that. And I'm going to show you how easy it is, irrespective of any company you work with, to get through the compliance problem. So that's going to be a big one. I know that's a big question people have in their mind. And in the last piece, we're going to talk about how do you get time efficiencies, because there is a fair bit of volume. If you want to get to 10,000, or in our case, like 20, 30,000 impressions per month, or even more sometimes, but that I think is healthy. We are not here to like go mad on marketing, but we believe that a good marketing systems on LinkedIn is where you're booking 10, 15 meetings a month. And we find that 10, 15,000 impressions allows you and your market. And we have legitimately tested this with real client data, where we had a client who was not doing any content posting on LinkedIn, or at least we had a client where we didn't post anything and we had a certain amount of meeting. And then we started using our content model and literally did the same messaging and same process campaigns. And we saw more than double the meetings. So it's proven statistically, and I have seen it in my business too. So we only do content. I had this thing, I came up with this yesterday. Content, a good content. So it goes without saying, I'm talking good content, which we'll cover today. Good content is like the watering of your social media. So if you consider social media as like a plant or tree, you have to water a plant or tree, and good content is like watering, right? So content posting is like watering. Other campaigns like messaging on LinkedIn and all that, which again, we won't talk about it today, that is more like fertilizers and other things, which are very important to get meetings. If you just water, then you may not get the fruits. But watering is important. You'll die. So we find 10, 15,000 impressions. That's why what I'm going to present to you today and give you an option to do something today as you end this event is to show you how you can, get to about 10,000 or more, or at least go on the path following what we have created. But how do you do that in the time efficient manner? How do you use technology, data, artificial intelligence? And I'm sure ChatGPT is on your mind right now as well. So if anybody has any question about ChatGPT stuff, please put it up in the chat as well. I'm very curious to see what's going on in advisors' mind when you're seeing all this, generative AI and ChatGPT trend. And I have my own perspective. I'll be doing some blog videos on that topic, but please put up any questions you have on that on the chat as well. So that's going to be the third thing we're going to talk about. So let's jump into the first one, right? So let me just walk you through the content mix side of it. And let's just take a step back and just understand how human brain works, because marketing is all about understanding the human psychology. And this is very fascinating and important that I have kind of seen, observed, discovered, implemented. And if you see on my screen right now, you're seeing like this brain, and I'm sure like just observe from today onwards, like when you go on social media, just be observant of what I'm talking about right now. So the science says, and it's proven through many studies across different discipline and domain, that impression is so let's define impression, right, for anyone on the call today. Impression technically means your eyes seeing something. And we all know that we don't see with eyes, we see with brain, right? Eyes is just a medium to get the imagery in your brain, and your brain processes, right, the information. So we all look through brains, but let's call it eyes for now. So impression is something that one person sees. So technically on social media, and again, LinkedIn. So let's say you see this my post when I'm sitting with it's a video which I did on LinkedIn. It had about, I think I cannot see here, but it's about 350 impressions. We'll dive into this a lot today. That 350 impression means there were 350 times this appeared on somebody's LinkedIn, oftentimes on phone or on computer. So when somebody logged into LinkedIn, my post just passed by. And I think LinkedIn has about some time. I believe it's 300 millisecond or so. Facebook uses different. And they basically see if somebody kind of even slowed down or read, because when you are on a phone and let's say you go through a post and you read something, it takes some milliseconds, sometimes it takes a second. And if you're watching a video, you might spend 5 minutes. So there is time that, so LinkedIn tries to differentiate if somebody is just, like if something is just passing by somebody's feed without getting their attention and brain time, or there is some brain time. So it's a very small time. Like, for example, if you see this post, right, the first one on top, I'm not a fan of social media, and I just posted this 2 days back. It's about 236 impressions. So for somebody to read that, it takes like some time, and LinkedIn can detect if somebody is reading or they're passing by. So impression is essentially somebody's attention given on a post. So that is that time, right? So the time means it was shown 236 times. And if you click on that on LinkedIn, you'll see like who watched it, the locations, there's a whole bunch of stats. But going back to the point I'm trying to make here is that the human, brain science and a lot of research tells that impression is powerful. And that's why if you see every marketing campaign out there, any advertising campaign, from Super Bowl ad to any TV ad or ads that comes when you're watching games, there is repetition, right? Yesterday I was watching Raptors game with my son. I see like there was like this few ads that repeats. What is that? That's impression. They're trying to imprint something in your brain. So impressions are powerful. Now you might see, I didn't talk about engagement today here. That's another important topic where people are liking, commenting, sharing. That is called engagement. Now engagement obviously is a higher quality metric, but typically getting engagement is very difficult unless you're like a big guru and big brand, which none of you are, neither me nor you. It's very hard to achieve that. So I've definitely never paid attention to growing my engagement. I know there are models out there and one can do that, but it never is a social media strategy. It oftentimes is like a big business or big brand where somebody spent 30, 40, 50 years of their life achieving that milestone in their life. So engagements are good, but it's not something that is essentially critical because of this marketing psychology of impression, right? Impression is way more important because the more people see you, the likelihood of them remembering you is higher. That's all that matters, right? So the reason we are talking 10,000 impression that you can hit next 30 days if you like stay with me till the end and copy paste our model is going to allow, I mean, just kind of put it up in the chat. Do you agree with me that if there were 10,000 impressions on your account on LinkedIn in the next 30 days, and I would say that 10,000 impression, obviously a lot of same people would see it, right? Because they're different posts. So let's say even like 500 or 1,000 people, unique people, saw your post 4, 5, 6 times. Some people will see 10 times. Do you think you will have more of a brand? So just type yes or no if you agree with me. So in the next 30 days, if we can show you how you can get in 10,000 plus impressions, will that elevate your brand, right? And we'll talk about the good content, bad content, and all that. So just say yes, no, whatever. Put it up there. But the power of impression, that's very important. Now, the second thing comes in variety. This is also very important because there's also something in marketing called banner blindness. And just observe, like, when you see something, and I did this. So yesterday I was watching the game. There was this ad from Tangerine, the bank. I think it came 6 times in the 30 minutes, like the first half or first couple of quarters. So what happened is when it comes, like second, third time, I mute it. My kids would change the channel. They were also watching some wrestling stuff. And that's the banner blindness. What means is humans are also, we tend to avoid things that we don't want to see. Or we even look at it, but not let it process in our brain, right? So that's another problem. So if you're doing the same content, like let's say if I were just putting the same video or even different video, but in the same setting, if I was sitting in the same place, and sometimes we do that, right? We clip the video multiple times. If you, as a user or a consumer of my content, if you felt that it is the same video and I have seen it, like what I felt when I watched the ad yesterday, and in my case, the ad was exactly the same, so there was no doubt in my head, then I'm not going to watch it. If it is not exciting, or if I have already seen it, I'm not going to watch it. So variety comes in to keep somebody interested. Big part of, and that's why you see Coca-Cola ad, if you just follow from 1940s, 50s, whenever the advertising started till now, they have new ads. Why? Because they need to have people go through the variety part. So in social media, things move very fast. It's a different speed than TV or radio. So you need to have variety in the mix significantly. And what you see on my screen right now is different variety of content. I'll dig deeper into that. So keep in mind that impression is crucial to achieving personal branding, right? Which is what we're talking about today. Now, let's just talk a little bit about the authentic personal branding model. I just came up with this name just to make a point. But this is very important. The word authentic is important because what I have seen from my personal experience is in today's world, let's take an example of an advisor, because that's the crowd we have today. Because we market to financial advisors, as you already know, we know that on LinkedIn in North America, like US and Canada, two countries, there's over 1.4 to 1.5 million people, specifically a lot of insurance advisors and agents, financial advisors, 400,000, 500,000 people. So there's a lot of them, right? Of course. But the market is big too. So I'm by no means implying it's saturation or anything, but you know that you need to be different. So the way the authentic thing works and important for advisors is like, and what I have done personally, and I find this to be good, is you just really create your branding around your personal traits, your belief systems, the way you do business, the way you think about problems, the way you like to plan, the way you do your own money management or planning, the way I think you want to be authentic about it. So one of the reasons to be personalizing the stuff and content, we'll talk about that. You want to make sure that when somebody is spending 1 second on your post or listening to your video for 15 seconds or 30 seconds, if you do videos, they get to know you. And that really is the authentic aspect of it. So if you have seen my content on LinkedIn or any other place, and today when you're listening to me, you'll find synchronicity, right? You'll see my videos are the exact same. My writing is the same as I speak. And I think that's really important because that is the only weapon we all have today to be unique. That's the only solution to competitiveness in the market. There is no other answer. So I think authenticity is very, very important. And it really comes down to, if you look at it's you and let's say your market. And another important thing to understand is like, none of us are trying to really get a lot of people in the market as clients. Like most financial advisors I know, and we work with a lot of advisors, many have over 150, $200 million book, very established advisors, and we have brand new advisors. I think everybody's client count oftentimes is like 200-300 people. That's really that's all there is to it, right? So you definitely just need to have a branding that goes to a few thousand people, so you can convert a few hundred. So you don't have to get too afraid of branding and marketing as if you want to conquer the entire country or so. We don't. We just need to really have few. Our markets are not very big if you start to focus. So that's why I just draw 3 people in the market, but obviously it's more than 3. And you want to have your entire content marketing strategy around the problem that people have, and all your marketing should be screaming loudly around the problem. So as an example, if you're doing financial planning, a lot of people do this the backward way, right? You see all the content posting is about solution to the retirement planning, right? X ways to do this, and this is how you do this and that. And sure, you need a little bit of that, but you need to have more content around what problems the lack of financial planning leads to, what issues people would get into, because that creates the fear, if you will, or that creates the concern, and hence the desire for people to speak. But if you're giving them solutions, then chances are they will do it on their own, right? So that's the psychology on problem and solution. So you want to really link with your market with the value you have. So what will happen is, like, if you are a very analytical person, as an example, you oftentimes will end up attracting with your content people who are also analytical, because you're speaking analytically, you're showing stuff and things like that. That's an example. If you are a very formal person, like you like to always suit up and tie up in the office, and if that's how your content is done, you may attract people like you, the CEOs and executives who like to suit up. So again, there's no right or wrong. Both can be successful and both will be successful. You just need to have the marry of the personality trait that you have. Let's talk a little bit about the mistakes to avoid. As I mentioned, the content posting from blind content posting from any sources is not good. Don't do it. Also, every content post that takes people off LinkedIn to an article on any news outlet or any other website, not a good strategy. LinkedIn doesn't like it. Don't do it. And you'll never be able to make that your own, because the moment you make people click, you're essentially marketing somebody else, which I think is, in my world, it's a sin. You should never do that. Why are you branding somebody else? It just doesn't make any sense to me. So you want to definitely be aware of and avoid the mistakes. We'll talk about the content mix and everything. So let's talk a little bit about content mix here. This is an important thing. So if you see here on my screen right now, this is like a last 365 days impressions, 217,000 impressions only on LinkedIn. And now that we have built our software, which I'm going to show the demo today, and it's really exciting stuff, I believe that the next 12 months is going to be doubling this number, if not more. Probably might be actually more than that, more than double. We might be hitting 500K impressions. This is just using our content framework without technology and automation, which is something we are just starting to create and build as well. So that is one of the key aspects. So let's talk a little bit about the mix that we have seen work well. Personal versus business. So there are some choices that you have to make. Do you do personal content posting or do you business? And then there's other variation comes in image versus video. Then you have short form versus long form. You do some text only. There's no image, no video. We find that to work quite well too. LinkedIn polls, as some of you may know, or many of you may, really gets a lot of impressions. So it is a good way to do that. LinkedIn PDF is something most people don't know. We'll talk a little bit about that too. But these are things that allows you to tell, the story in a different form factor where it is exciting, and that really becomes important to have. And what we have found in our case, and I'll just kind of give you a framework we use, right? So we get into 3 to 4 posts a day is what we find optimum. Sometimes we have more, but I think 3, 4 is good a day. You want to have mix, like, if you want to do personal post, and I'll walk you through that, some examples today. You don't want too much personal, because this is not like Instagram or Facebook by any means, but at the same time, LinkedIn likes personal stuff, and I'll show you that. So you want to have a little bit of that, but the more you are able to communicate a point or give some inspirations to people, that I think is really powerful. And you need to kind of build this type of model, and we have some samples and templates and everything that you can use. So you need to have the variety. Image and videos, I think images are faster and they still work very well. So good news is videos are not, like, they're very helpful, but you don't need to do like all video content strategy. It's too difficult to do videos, too much pain associated. And we're going to show you some stuff that can help you there as well. Short and long, I think combination is good. Text is good as well. And so let me now quickly, before we go into compliance hack, let me just quickly show you on my LinkedIn. If you see my screen here, I'm just going to go to my LinkedIn. Okay, so if I go into, so if you see here, this is, let me just increase, if you can see, hope you guys can see this properly. But if you see in the last 36 days, I'm just looking at some stats here. The top most performing post on LinkedIn is the one I did for my wife's birthday. 4,000 impressions. And I get actually criticized by many people, sometimes some hate as well, about posting some stuff. And not that I like to post this thing. I wouldn't post this at all if I have my way, to be honest. And the reason we do that is generally because we see and we have had feedback from people we work with that they find me more human when I do that. And that really builds a bond with people. So that is one of the main reason we kind of do this as well, right? So that's kind of one of these posts. So that's, but if you, it's fascinating when you see here the top post in the last 12 months in my account. The number one is this one, which was just like a birthday gift thing, and then went crazy in terms of that. So that you may have seen that too. And then comes like the next best thing that we have seen is the poll. So here's like a poll that I did sometime back, and that works well. Then as you see, you start to go down the path, you start to really see, in our case, and we see this with some clients as well, a lot of really like if you were to ask me, and I'm sure you have this question, what is a good post? Now that can change and depend upon how big your network is. In my case, I have several advisors, but we believe that if a post reaches anywhere over 200 to 300 impressions, we consider that as a winner. When the one that goes under 100 or just about 100 in our case, but in your case, when you're starting out, 100 could be a good number. So this 3,000-4,000 is pretty big for me. I know some people do even a lot more than that. So we look at this data, and again, this was an anniversary one, which again did well. So oftentimes you see what I have observed and what you see on my screen is like, in addition to poll, personal posts really get a pretty good, like even this was my 5-year-old son. Now this is the example I was talking about. So if you see in this post, we're just trying to kind of help people about certain things, right? So you just need to come up with the story. It's not like you're just sharing your personal life, but you're kind of inspiring other people. In this case, it was more of adoption of technology for advisors or for the market. And that was my point of that. So again, this one is as well, right? So one of my son, when he did the Lego, learning to build, that was the message I wanted to pass. It was not so much of show off or anything like that. So that LinkedIn takes it really well. The audience on LinkedIn, like all you guys, I know most of you are connected with me on LinkedIn. You like that. That makes it a lot more. Then, and if you see here, like I keep going down and down. I don't see some really good videos that I do on LinkedIn and Facebook, educational video. Like you see, everything is still personal, right? So that's kind of, this is a feedback from the market, right? I do in fact, if you look at percentage wise, 80% of our post is content, business related, LinkedIn strategy, Facebook strategy, sales strategy. That's what we talk about on LinkedIn. But the response we get from you and all the people is this, right? So we have to keep that in mind. And again, that doesn't mean that you stop doing business and just do personal. That I think is a bad idea. But you need to understand like how people like it. And also another important thing we have learned is, you see this particular video, right? It's a video we posted 10 months back, right? And I'm going to show you, I think we posted recently as well, the same video. If I just go back. And the point I want to make here, and I'm also watching the time here, just to make sure we get through everything. So you see, this is a variety, right? If you see here, we got all this variety that I'm talking about, but you see this one was posted one day back, and it's already 421 impressions. So things that work. That's an important point I want to make. And in our tool that we have built and technology that we're creating, we're identifying this, so to speak, winner post. And this is a live example. By the time, I think LinkedIn probably shows a post probably till a month, but the first week or 2 weeks gets the most. So I am pretty positive that this one is going to be even more than this one, 810 impressions. So you need to kind of have a strategy and a tool that I have created one. I'm going to demo that to you today as well. So this is where I think a lot of lessons are coming from. And we also have created like something really cool in terms of creating a content mix for you. Let's talk a little bit about the compliance hack. And this is really powerful, right? So definitely I have seen, and I work with many advisors from different firms, that compliance does allow you to put content. So absolutely you can do any content you want. You just need to submit to compliance for approval. That's pretty much the requirement. And most companies have even relaxed that now with, they have the access to your account, so they would just let you know if they don't like something. So, but check on your compliance. But one simple hack that we have consistently used with our clients and all. So if you see on my screen, this is one of the PDFs from a large firm. So obviously it's a compliance approved material. And every company, if you look into your libraries, you'll have a estate plan, retirement plan, insurance. So you take any of this material and you literally can copy paste, if you will, the thing. So if I want to write a small post, I can say 5 empowering investment strategies for women. And I just go on, develop a strategy, get started. And I can just simplify this. So you can just summarize this. There's going to be a lot of AI tools now in the market with ChatGPT and all that could even do that for you. But let's just keep it basic right now. You use this and then you submit to compliance and then submit this document alongside. That's what we do with our private clients. So we create multiple posts from the approved material and just send that to compliance saying, hey, this is your approved material. I created 10 posts. And you literally can copy paste if you want, and then add 1 or 2 lines before and after, right? That is your hack to get any compliance path approved. We have used this very strongly for last few years. So if you still are concerned about compliance, please don't be. You are able to do everything that you need to do, enough that you'll get to 10,000 plus impressions and you'll be fine. So that's like an important point, and I wanted to mention. Now let's talk about the time and data hacks, right? I think this is really important, and this is where I like to kind of show you, what we have created and what is it that we are using right now, because the amount of content posting that we do, and we have increased that because we have created our own software and tool, which we are finding it to be a game changer for us, and we're going to give you an opportunity to try this out and use it with us and show you something. But let me quickly show you what that looks like. Okay, so I'm gonna just go into let's see here. Okay, so here's one of our account. If you see, this is the one other account. So one of the things we have done is in our tool, we kind of have an ability to connect with your LinkedIn account. So very simple. So in her case, we connected with her account, and then you go to post management. What we have created is, a library. Now, this is really important, right? I know you have seen some of the tools that you may have access within the company, but as I mentioned, most tools, if I literally scroll into any LinkedIn, if I just go to the LinkedIn account, in her case, like you see all these posts are coming out, right? Like you literally see, let me just close this one. You see these posts keep coming, and these are automated. We all know that. But oftentimes all this post takes you to, if you click on this one, it goes to fortune.com, right? If I click, oftentimes that's what happens. And anything that takes people out is not good. And plus, if anybody was reading any of this article as well, then it's not going to be like branding the advisor, right? So that's not what this is, right? So for us, everything here, so let's say this is the post. I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like. Now, all this content is handwritten like me. So I obviously use other sources, but I write with the psychology and the framework that we have learned. So as you see here, this is really talking about that. And this is now a very simple post. And we also provide you ready-to-use images, and you can also upload your own images from here, right? And that really is a good way. So this framework doesn't take people out of LinkedIn. It keeps them on LinkedIn. And that is the main difference. You can absolutely customize anything you want and make it your own personal. So that's kind of one of the thing. And the way we have kind of engineered, if you will, the variety part. So if you go to filter, we have created different categories, and this becomes really important when you're planning your content. So how do you, if you want to talk about retirement, you see we have retirement content. If you want to talk about insurance, we have insurance related content. And you can even go further deep down and say you want to do RRSP related content, you want to do 401k related content, and we are constantly adding. So we are starting to add more and more content. This library is going to be thousands of posts. And then basically from here, you're able to literally pick any post, like here is a post. And as you see here, what we have done is it's written very carefully, keeping the knowledge in mind, keeping the problem aggravation in mind, benefits in mind, and all that as you see here. And then we provide relevant images that you can use. They are like license to use images, but also some unique images that we create like this. And then you're able to also upload your own images. If you want to use personal photos, you can click here and upload any pictures that you want. And then you can schedule, right? So that's really how this particular thing works. And then you have a nice calendar view that you can see everything. So let's just kind of do, and I talked about how do you spend 10 minutes and do like, 100 posts, if you will. And the way you would do that, and I'm not obviously going to do all 100 right now, but if you, just to kind of give you how it works, you come here, you pick this particular post, and then you go down and pick a schedule and say, okay, I'm going to post it on 17th. You come here, you select a time and just say, so we kind of use some standard timing. Let me just move this here that we have seen work. So we typically like certain type of posts, like quotations that we'll post in the morning. So we might say, okay, 8 o'clock in the morning, and you can just do this thing. So now when I do this thing, I save, it just schedules. Now what we do is, while we are on the screen, we'll take the same post as I showed you. Repetition on LinkedIn is allowed. But let's make a small change. Let's make an image change. And then I'm going to do, instead of 17th, I'm going to do like a week out. And that's what we typically do. We just space it out by a week, 2 weeks, so it's simple. And you click on save. So I just schedule 2 posts. Then, I can go back and add another one. I can just take a personal pictures, in my computer, if you will. And then I can post anything from here. Like, let's say this is still personal pictures, but you can post any pictures you want, and boom, so you've done that. So that is really how, and then it comes in your calendar like this. You can see the post, which is going to get posted. And if you go into, let's do one more with, let's say, term life insurance, to life insurance benefit. And now I'll say, okay, you know what, I've posted, actually, let's see, there is one, term life insurance, image video, let's see what this is. Okay, if I click on use, I think we have some, yeah, so as you see here, this has a lot. So technically this post can now go, and again, you can absolutely change it. There is some benefit of doing that as well. But there are all these images and you can put more. So here we're talking about like, life insurance. So we also have some images and videos that, creates a different type of emotions with people. Again, variety, as I mentioned. So you do this and we pick another date and say, okay, instead of 17th, I'm going to do on 18th. And we are going to do again, this one, I'm going to do it at 3:30 p.m. right? And I'm going to just do P. And we do that and you save. So now this is scheduled. While I'm on the same thing, I'm going to say I'm going to put an image now on 18th, and I'm going to do 25th. And I'll do the same time. So you can literally just go through this one by one, and you can schedule like 20 posts in literally less than a minute. And that's what we do. And when you do that, you'll have an entire calendar full. And that way you can do that. Now, again, in your case, if you have to go through compliance, then what you typically do is you are able to pick all this post, get bulk approval, and come back and schedule it. That's typically how people do. And we have clients who need to do that on that. Now, again, I think somebody's asking questions on what is the best time to post on LinkedIn. It's a great question. So from a timing standpoint, what we have seen is you really, in the beginning, you kind of use the time when people are on LinkedIn. So we do morning, late morning, afternoon, and evening, like after work. And you just let the data go for a month. And then when you get the data, we have not found timing to be a key thing. What we do find is the content itself is either more of the driver. So the post that gets more impression is because of the quality of post, by the content and image, not when it is posted. We have tried posting the same on different time, but a good post works well. Just because you post at 9 o'clock doesn't mean LinkedIn shows at 9 o'clock, right? Keep that in mind. LinkedIn is going to take that piece of content, put it up in the pipeline of millions of posts people have, and probably for next 30 days, it's going to show people at different times. So when people see it, you really have no control. So the timing really should be spread out. So we follow the logic, and we kind of just use this time 4 times. We just want to make sure that we are out in the market enough. Yes, when you put something new, instantly more people get to see it. So that's really the time factor of it. So this particular approach, and we have built dashboards so you can see, how many content you've posted and everything. There are some enhancement going on, coming, as early as next week, where we are going to be getting the feedback into our tool, and that's really the game changer. And we've been building this tool. This whole tool is my own, carefully built, personally built. So this data from LinkedIn, on the impressions and everything, it is coming back into our system, and we are now using that to make recommendation. So you will be able to, if you had a month of data, like in our case, for example, this data, we are now able to identify the really good performing post and then increase our odds and multiply. And that's why I'm saying, in our case, the next 12 months is going to be at least 500,000 impressions, because now we are able to very easily with our tool identify the posts that people like you have liked on LinkedIn, and we are going to literally, like I just did, reuse the post. So you can get really lazy with this stuff in a smart way, and that's the power of technology that we have as well. And that's where this goes. So that's kind of how this demo, like the product works, and having the variety and creating your own posts, right? So you're able to create your own posts in our tool. You can go and create any images, you can write any text, and you can create. And that is something that we do as well, but we find that using a framework gets a better start. Some of the enhancement we are working on is also to integrate ChatGPT. So this is something more like forward-looking features, but it should be out in a month or two. So you see, when you go to post management, you can either use the post that we have created, which really is what the most important thing. Like if you want to achieve 10,000 impressions, these posts will get you there. We already have people hitting those numbers on a weekly basis. So it's more proven to start, right? But also you can create your own post on Post Editor. You can create any post you want. So what we are working is, in here, we are going to give you a ChatGPT type interface where you can just put up a topic and say, let's say, top 3 retirement challenges, and it will automatically write the entire thing. And then you can take a look at it, edit it, post it. Now, nobody in the world has that piece. It's just you. It's your bot creating it for you. Really cool stuff. But at the same time, if that content did not work, you need that feedback loop into my post with impressions, and then you need to be able to kill the one that doesn't work. And those are enhancements that we are making. But currently, again, the key is to have tools and techniques and branding strategies that you can do that. So mixing different type of form factors and everything is really critical to do that. Now, I think we are, just to keep a time check as well. So I know at this point, I just wanted to kind of pose some big questions, because I know you have a lot of questions. I do see people are, somebody's asking if you are looking to post 3-4 times a day, that would be a ton of content. And that is true. And that's why when you use the templates and you use the changing of image, it is one post posted 4 times in a month, right? If you think about every post, you can post each week, honestly, and we have done that. So you can repeat. So you just need to plan a week of content, which again, we have templates. You can just select, boom. I have people who have scheduled entire month in less than 10 minutes. People are using it. We do that as well. So it's a lot of content, but it's done very fast with tools. If you don't have tools, yes, it is a lot of content, a lot of time. So let me just kind of ask you, do you kind of understand how you could create a personal branding strategy? How can you create the content that is aligned to you, also relevant to your product? Like, let's say if you're not selling life insurance, if you're just doing investment management, then your content should be around that. So there is this whole strategy, and that's another problem people have. People are posting everything that is available under the sun. You don't want to do that. The job of the branding is to drive appointments and clients. So you want to make sure, if you're offering an investment management or financial planning approach, then your content should speak of that. You should stay away from life insurance, and you should stay away from estate plan. You should stay away from every of those things. So that's another important thing, right? So do you kind of understand now at least some of it? I know it's very hard for me to change your life in one webinar, but I just wanted to give you an insight. And do you see compliance is not a good excuse to not do anything? Like, just kind of put answer yes or no if you agree with any of this thing in the chat, please. That would help. And do you see how you can get to 10,000 impressions? You need to really have like 50 to 80 posts. And I showed you what type of post. And if you do that, depending upon the size of your market, keep in mind when you post on LinkedIn, LinkedIn shows that post to anybody, not just people that are connected with you. And we have a client that we started working. He had 200 people on LinkedIn. He had never used LinkedIn. And now he has about 400 or 500 in a month that we have been working with him. But the very first week when he used our tool and posted, he had a post that went to, I think, about 800 people, which was amazing, right? He had 200 people, but it went to a lot of people that are not connected. So you do have a lot of reach, and that will increase more people connecting and everything. And we have seen that. So again, if all of this kind of makes sense to you, then, if you are okay now, given the time constraint we had, I'd like to kind of walk you through something that we have put together that I believe would really help you. If you guys are okay, let me just kind of walk you through how you can really take what we have learned today to the next level. Right. So what I put together is like something really an interesting offer as we are launching our product. So all this is done in the spirit of our new product. And what I'm offering today is only for 10 people. So if you really want this thing, please put up a message now that we are not, like, just put it in the chat. Interested. So that's the word we're going to use. We'll reach out to you and get you the access. And let me just walk you through what this is, okay? So you're going to got what I'm calling this a 30-day personal branding discovery. So I'm just to be clear, I'm not trying to make you a superstar in 30 days by any means. But what I want to help you do is to start on the right path to create your personal branding strategy, start to take your brand to people, and then continue each month so that you're making progress, because that's really how business and life is. So let's start kind of talking about that. So what does that look like? So what are you getting with this, right? So first is you're going to get the Fintello that we have, which is, so right now the regular fee is higher, but we're giving you a discounted fee, which we only give right now to our program members, people who pay over $700, $800 plus to work with us. But you're going to get that at a discounted fee, which is $69 a month. So it's really nothing compared to what you saw. It gets all the templates, all the automation tools, and everything. So that's the first thing that you're going to get. The second thing, which I'm also going to add, is I'm going to add a video toolbox course. That course is about $497 value. And in that course, I talk about video marketing. What is the good way of doing video? What is the bad way of doing video? What technology and tools you use to edit the videos and all that stuff. So videos are powerful. So I'm going to give this course for free for anyone who is doing it. Now, if you can do video, that's fine, but I think it's still important to learn. So again, the second thing that you're going to get alongside this particular thing is this. Now, again, the reason I created this package is to create this thing to help you go down the path. And I believe that if you are able to do video, you should do video. And that's the second thing. The third thing, we're also going to give you a free support that comes. Like, that's something we want to throw in. And what that means is for the next 30 days, you will have email, Zoom, and chat support. We do 2 live calls a week, and you're able to join and ask any questions, what kind of videos you want to do, what tool, anything you need help to elevate, will help you with that whole thing. So you're going to get, again, a $497 value support. One really big thing I want to add personally is I want to help you with one personal strategy session. This will be a private strategy session. I'll get on a call with you, and we'll lay out an entire plan. And this could mean anything. You want to do compliance questions, you want to figure out what kind of videos you want to do, how you want to do, what market, anything you need from me. It's an hour free call that we will also give it to you with no cost. Again, that's worth $97 of my time. Again, we have a good business we run here. We build good product. So you're going to get that as well. And if you see here, the entire thing, if we were to add, is about $2,060. But that is not obviously what you're going to pay. And I want to make sure that you understand this is only for 10 people. So what we have put together, and my team doesn't like me doing it, but we'll do it anyways, because I want to take my product and give it to more people. So all you need to do is you just have to sign up with the $69. The good news is, if you don't like Fintello, you can cancel next month. So you don't have any commitment. You keep the free course. You speak with me, keep the knowledge. Everything is with you. Because of my time, I can do it more. So there's only 10 people we're taking in for this offer. So if you want this, and this is only available like till we get 10 people, which will happen very, very soon. We had 110 people registered, many people joined today. So, it might sound like a ridiculous offer, is like 97%, but as I said, like for us, this is, the main thing is we want to make sure that we can give you our product and show you the benefit. If you don't like it, you cancel. You only have to commit $69. But you're going to get the video toolbox course. You can keep it forever. You get the call with me, and again, we have been coaching and training people when they get a lot of help and strategic insight, in these type of call. So this will be a private call. Nobody else will get to see that. It will be anything you want to discuss, and I can lay out an entire strategy for the entire year, if you will, on what would make you stand out in front of your market. So again, all you need to do is just put interested in the chat. We'll reach out to you and do that. So that's the only kind of cost that is associated to kind of doing it. There really is nothing else. But it is like the best thing that we have created. Again, our program sells at $7,800 plus. If you guys have joined our program, working with us is not cheap. We don't have anything low cost. This is the offer that we created. Again, because the product, we want you to start using it. You're going to love it. We already have 20 plus people using it, by the way. We use it. So this is in the spirit of this, and I genuinely, we are discovering a lot, honestly, with with this tool. Like even someone like me, and I have tried using other third-party tools. And if you're debating between other tools in the market, try this out. For $69, you're not gonna be at a disadvantage. The analytics, the data, the recommendation engine that we have built is something that you're not gonna find it. And that really is one of the main things. So if you're thinking right now, today is like what? Today is 6th of April. In the next 30 days, here's what's going to happen. If you decide to take us on the offer, and I highly recommend you do that right now, I'm starting to see people, I'm already seeing many people, there are like at least 6 or 7 people that have already said interested. So we won't have it for too long. But imagine, here's what happens, right? So we'll reach out to you today, we'll get you signed up. You'll get also a training on how to use product and everything. You can schedule a call with me, as early as, this week or next week, probably. You can start scheduling content today, by the way. You can just do it on your own without me. But then if we get on the call, we'll lay out a plan. And this call will be a lot more than technical tools, right? It'll be a strategy, whether you're doing insurance, investment, annuities, whether you're doing, financial planning. If you're working with a big firm and you're very concerned about compliance, we'll provide you all the help. We'll give you, okay, here's how many videos you should do. Here's how many images you should do. You should use this content, that content, pretty much lay out a map for you. And then you'll see the beauty of this is going to be, you're going to start seeing how powerful this technique is. And you start to see, and every single day, you'll see your impression goes up. So essentially what happens is, let's say if you made 4 posts, which will take you less than a minute today, tomorrow, your post will be in front of like 400 people maybe. Within a week, you might be in front of 500 people. And you didn't spend any more time. It was done in like 5 minutes. So it is really powerful. And we honestly believe, as I said, it's watering your social media, because I want you to keep the energy for messaging and other campaigns, which is again a topic of other webinars, which we have done and will do more. But we believe that content posting should not take more than an hour a month, honestly, maybe 2 hours at tops. Most people should do it within an hour. But if you can get in front of, like, if you can get 10 to 15,000 impressions, honestly, you can do even 25 like me or more. But 10, 20 is good. Imagine just spending an hour and creating a very unique, likable brand in your market. That is going to help you save the time and now go down the path of working on other things. So again, one of our best offer we made. Typically, we don't do this. I have never personally done any webinars with these type of offers, but this is something we believe that will help you. So that's why we wanted to make it sweeter. I didn't want to just give you the Fintello subscription, which is amazing, by the way, but we wanted to make sure that you're getting the personalized help on the call, a strategy, the tools to kind of do some of the personalized video content and everything, and also like support that you need for the 30 days. So that is really a lot that we're giving. And obviously we're not trying to make money on 69, as you can imagine. You spend over $500,000 on the software, but it is a beginning of something big. And we know that if you like our product, you will stay, you will use, and that's going to help you, it's going to help us. So it's very, very simple way to make this thing. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me just quickly go as you're making decision. Please go ahead and put interested if you want to sign up today, or we'll send you, we'll reach out to you and do that. But let me go through some of the questions right now. And if you have more questions, please put it. I'm going to spend some time here and just go through questions. Okay, so 4 posts a day, 5 days, that's 20. Each post would have different content. If you're using the same content with different images, I don't see that being effective. Well, it's a good question, I think. Yeah. So I think that's why the reusability of content really is interesting, because what is considered same is everything same. And as I showed you, if you use the exact same thing, you may want to delay it by a month or 2. But if you are using the same text, but if you're changing an image, this technically is not repetition. Because if you see any social media, if you go to your LinkedIn today, right now, when something comes by, image is like 90% or 80% of the area, right? Text is like little, and then you expand. So image variations gives you the biggest bang for your buck. Images are easy, right? As you saw in my post, to vary it. Content is hard to write. So the best thing to do, honestly, is try it out. I know you'll be surprised to see what it does. If you just change the image and keep the same content, you'll get decent amount of impression. You will not get penalized for that. It is ideal, obviously, to keep all unique content if you can. But then the reality is also like, well, you have to ask yourself the question, like, what is the purpose of doing content, right? The reason we do content and what we like, the main purpose is to be top of mind of people. So you definitely want to be top of mind, and to be top of mind, you need to have content, and you're winning content that is getting more impression. It's not the most well-written, well-educated content, unfortunately. You have to give people what they want, right? That's the rule of marketing. So if you find a content that is being liked, then you absolutely want to give more, of the time that content can be shown by changing small things. So then you're able to achieve your purpose. And also it does help with, imagine, like, why is Tangerine showing the same ad like 50 times on a basketball game? It's kind of boring, but it does, right? So then you're also latching into impression. So let's say if you posted a content about the woman wealth, the one I showed you, if you just posted the same thing 3 times in a month, and I'm not saying anyway post 20 times a month or anything, because then you have the banner blindness problem. But if you post it 3 times, and if you are somebody that's helping women wealth planning space, as an example, you are reinforcing your point, correct? So that is very important, because that's what human brain needs, reinforcement. Now you have reinforcement, variety. So we find, and again, I'm not wrong because I've seen my data, but that may not work for you, and you might need to spread 2 weeks, for example, but the data will tell you that. So the best strategy in the next 30 days, do the best way of scheduling that we recommend, and what you can find in the most time effective manner. If you're able to dedicate 4 hours, then please, come up with unique content. That would be great. But if you have time constraint, like most advisors, then spend like an hour, do this. Let's get the data back and see. If we find with data that, the first one got 200 impression, after that it was like 20, then we know we should never do that. But until we get the data, I wouldn't decide anything, right? I think, again, as I mentioned, content is not where you're going to win the client acquisition battle. It's a water to your social media. It is important. And the reason we built our tool is we wanted to make this an hour to 2 hour work and give you the biggest bang for the buck. So I think that's something to, again, to answer your question in short, try it out with data, right? And see what it is. So let's see. I think there are some more questions. We talked about the best time. Financial advisor be concerned about AI and the potential for AI to take over business. It's an interesting question. I think let me address it. And again, as I'm addressing the questions, go ahead, and we still have some more room. So people, if you're really interested in jumping on and getting our help in the next 30 days. So please type interested. Otherwise, we would not know if you wanted this or not. So please put that interested in chat and we'll get you onboarded. But let's talk about the AI. So I think there's a lot of buzz on the AI chat GPT stuff specifically, and then other AI tool. So, I mean, in a nutshell, I don't think it's not going to take over anything yet. I think there are other issues and threat with that, and people are working on that, I believe. But just to kind of bring in context, I think in today's topic we're talking, so the question, one good question to ask is the future of content writing on social media going to be taken over by AI? Which means, would we not want, don't we have to create any content? Like, can we get away by not doing anything and outsource it to AI and create AI tools and just do it, right? So can AI help us make content marketing like a no-brainer? And I think that's where a lot of people are running after right now. There's a lot of issues going on, in my view, where AI is going to start, and AI writes really good content. I have used it and I've seen it. So it is really powerful. This technology is really good. But the challenge, I think, what comes is, like, the reason I talked about the authentic branding is a bot would not be able to understand your personal attributes. And I don't think it's going to be, it won't be doing justice to you if you completely give it to AI. So I personally am not going to let AI write my content, because I don't think the AI would understand my style of teaching, writing, educating. I can certainly, so I think the future is there, and that's why we are integrating AI or chat GPT in our product. I think in the parameter, like the templates that we provided, the tags of retirement, solutions, RRSP, 401k, I think you need to put some boundaries. And in that boundary, you're able to guide a tool. And I think that's the future. And that's what we are building with our product. Because then you're able to put a context around your style. Let's say if you're an advisor that is very outgoing, like to travel a lot, you have that lifestyle advisor kind of a approach. You want your content to reflect that, right? And over time, the AI can start to pick up that if you have a personal bot and things of that nature. But it's better to just confine and say, okay, I have a personality. I like to travel, and I want to help people who are traveling and want to do retirement planning, or they are planning to move to Paris, for example, in retirement from Canada or US, and want to attract that market. Then you want to have content that you curate and you tell the AI or the bot saying, okay, I want travel, I want retirement, I want tax in multi countries. You see, you have to give boundaries. Then the content that comes out would be beautiful. So I think there's a role for AI. We are going to be absolutely making that happen with this technology. And again, the current, we have a $89 subscription for our post management in the market today, which we have had some clients sign up. That's without some of the AI integration. That's going to be an additional thing. But today, if you get the $69 plan, then any enhancement like the AI integrations or the analytics and recommendation coming, which is coming next month, you get all of that in. So we're going to give you the full product as well. So that's my view on AI. I think AI is going to make it interesting and fast, but it is going to be our job to keep our spirit, personality intact. I personally would never outsource, even though I'm a technology person. I create software, I build software myself, but I think humans are extremely powerful entity, and we need to keep the human spirit in mind with our clients. And imagine, me not doing the webinar and you had an AI doing it. I don't think you'll like it as much. So that's important. Chat GPT is like using compliance approved auto stuff. I don't think so. I think that's big problem. I think I think you're going to see a lot more compliance restrictions coming from financial advisory firm around any chat GPT tool, because technically what happens with chat GPT, if you understand how the technology works, right? So what happened is, like, chat GPT guys or the open AI team, they've crawled the internet, which means computers read the internet, put all the data into a giant database, and now it's using models to create in a very nice way. So essentially, chat GPT for a financial advisor is going to create content from all over internet, which means if you work for company A, you might end up creating article which is written by company B, which is your competitor company, right? You would never know. So I think the compliance team are going to be absolutely putting guards on this, in my view, right? They are going to be disabling or stopping a lot of it. They'll essentially, at least at some point, they will accept it, but they will have more approval gates, in my view. So that's why I said right now, I don't think Chat GPT right now is going to help you. I think what will help is what we have created. And the reason for that is like, it's a simple content. It's achieving what you want. And we do use some advanced tooling to create. I think compliance are going to be more um, concerned about this. Like the schools, for example, like, the school system is going to be more concerned about kids not stealing the essays or the exam papers that they're given, right? So I think there's a lot of concern compliance is going to have, because you don't want ChatGPT to give investment recommendation, which it can, because there are a lot of articles on the internet about how to get 40% returns on stock market in next 20 days. So ChatGPT have read that article, and it might unknowingly create, when you say create an article on retiring faster, it might create, here are the stocks that you should invest in retiring faster, which obviously you are not allowed to say. I think there are more dangers than that. And that's why you want to guide the AI and say, talk about the problems, right, of not retiring at the age of 60. And it will write content a little bit, and then you can change a bit. There's also the hybrid, right? You take something and then you modify it. You remove certain stuff. And I think that is the near-term future. Perhaps I'm personally going to use it forever. We always will create our content. That's clear. We would use and we have used tools, but our content is always needed. Every content that you see I post on LinkedIn is all created by us, handwritten. Every content you saw in Fintello right now for you is written by me. So we continue to see human aspect of it as well. Okay, so I think we are kind of running a little bit over time. So I'd like to end the call again. If there's any final interest, just put interested. We'll reach out to you, get you the access and everything that you need. And so I hope this was helpful. Thanks a lot for joining today. We'll be obviously announcing the next webinar as well, and we highly encourage you to join as well. But yeah, thanks a lot, and we will be back soon, and we'll get in touch with everybody that have shown interested. And thanks for all the questions, all the engagement, and hope this gave some insight, and hope you can now put a plan at least for your personal branding, and anything we can do to help you, just reach out and let us know. Thanks a lot.